Hey everybody, I've been asked to do a little refresher on our high flow nasal cannula unit for all the new employees that we've had recently, and also to help those of you that might not be comfortable or confident in your abilities to use this unit. So I'm here with my buddy Manny Ken, and he's going to help me a little bit, kind of go through this, and then we're going to talk a little bit about transitioning from the CPAP BiPAP patient to use the high flow nasal cannula during this COVID crisis due to the decrease in the aerosolization of the exhaled air. This is going to be the preferred method of transporting in the confined area if we are able to accomplish it without detriment to the patient. So let's do a little bit of review. Every truck, Medic 1, 2, and 3, should have one of these black cases in it. A black Pelican case like such that is going to have all this equipment in it. Okay, it's going to have the actual high flow unit. If I don't drop it, it should be set like this. It's going to have the high pressure hose. It's going to have an adapter to use in the truck if you can't find, just in case the one that's in the truck is missing. We're going to have the filter. We're going to have a piece that's referred to as the muffler. This is a reusable item. It's not to be thrown out, okay? And we're going to have the circuit to use. And this is, we're talking for the adult patients at this time. So you'll need the circuit, the filter, the high pressure hose, the muffler, and the actual unit. Inside every truck we should have various different sizes of the nasal cannulas that if we know that the patient is on CPAP or BiPAP, we should probably take a couple of those, if not all three sizes, with us to use to transition over to the patient. So we'll just do real quick. Let's say that the patient is already on the high flow nasal cannula. Okay, what we're going to do is this unit can strap right onto our IV pole. Okay, and we'll go through a couple of the parts here. This flow meter right here, you'll see it's labeled in liters per minute. This is our volume side of the device. Okay, it's going to say how much air, for lack of a better term, the patient's going to be getting. Okay, this side of it, the digital readout, is going to give us our percent of oxygen that they're going to be getting. So this is, in essence, is just a blender of taking in outside air, mixing it with oxygen, and giving it at a particular liter flow to the patient. Okay, so to further set it up, we take the filter and the muffler, put it together, and it goes right here on the bottom, side of the device. Okay, if I turn this around, okay, you'll see a little valve here, and you'll see a connection. Okay, that connection is for our high flow or our high pressure hose. I know you're all laughing at me, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, but there we go. Okay, that goes to the high pressure port on our COTS oxygen tank, which needs to be set on auxiliary then. Okay, also on the back you'll see a little valve here. Okay, that should be in the off position. This is just going to open up that supplied oxygen when we're ready for it. So I'll spin this back around. to this side. So we've got two knobs here. One of them shows O2, one of them shows the triangle. Okay. O2 is exactly what it is. If you on the end of it here, it's also got the graduated triangle that shows if you turn it to the left, it should increase. If you turn it to the right, it's going to decrease. Okay, so the upper one controls the oxygen, the lower one controls the liter per minute flow rate. Okay. To turn the unit on, simply press the circle with the line through it, and it should come on here. And we'll see there was a little bit of oxygen that ran through there when I turned it on. That's why we're reading some. This is powered by the oxygen coming in there. It doesn't have its own turbine or anything that generates it. So the oxygen flowing through it draws air at a particular ratio up from this muffler, this air intake. So to get started, we're going to turn the oxygen on. This dial is dialed all the way up. Okay, so we have them all turned off all the way to the right, and we have the oxygen turned on. So what we're going to need to know is the liter flow that they're on, 30 liters per minute, 50 liters per minute, and then our oxygen, their percentage that they're being supplied, whether it be 30%, 40%. So when we turn the oxygen up and the flow up, it's just like a normal flow meter. We'll take this up. Let's say they're on 30 liters per minute. Okay, you can see we're at, it's like 30 liters per minute there, and we'll gradually increase our oxygen, turning it to the left. And there's kind of a delay in here. You have to be patient until that number goes up, and it'll kind of level off, and you'll just have to play with it a little bit. So we're at 29.7. Let's go up to 35 just for example purposes here. Turn a little, let it catch up. Okay, we're over, so I'll back it down. Still going up. The circuit then is going to plug right into the side here, and it will supply through the tubing into the nasal cannula. So you can see how this is kind of touchy and just takes a little bit to get it dialed in. It's nothing complicated, a very simple unit to use. So that's close enough to 35. Okay, it kind of levels out there. Alright. So if the patient's already on the nasal cannula, all we have to do is hook up to the nasal cannula that's already in place with the tubing. And it's that simple. It's just adjusting the flow rate, liters per minute, and the oxygen, the percent of oxygen that they're on. You should know those settings from the patient's nurse or looking at the unit in the room. Okay, so I'm going to turn this off real quick. So let's say that the patient is on BiPAP or CPAP already. So we have corresponded and with Primary Life Respiratory Therapy and come up with procedure for transitioning from that BiPAP CPAP to get them started on a high flow nasal cannula for transport for our COVID positive or presumptively positive patients, because we don't want any more aerosolization in the back of the unit than we have to have. And what we're being told is that this is better than using the BiPAP CPAP, and we should be able to, there's a good possibility we're able to maintain that patient's respiratory status using this. So, starting point, okay, let's say that the patient's on 12/6 at 30%, okay. What we're going to do is we're going to start at 30 liters per minute for our flow rate, okay. We adjust this, okay. It's going to be the bottom knob to 30 liters per minute right here. Then we're going to adjust the oxygen percentage to whatever the CPAP is set at. So if they're at 12/6, 30%, we'll adjust this to 30% to match theirs. Okay? Everything is set up the same. Well, I'll show you the nasal cannula when I get done here. But that's our starting point. 30 liters a minute at whatever oxygen percentage the patient is set at on their CPAP BiPAP. Okay? Now, if the patient's respiratory rate begins to increase, like they are needing more minute volume, okay, like our workaround for that, or our troubleshooting, is going to be titrating the liters per minute to give them a little bit more assistance in their respiratory status. So we have to monitor the respiratory rate. If it goes up, they seem to be more dyspneic, increase the liters per minute, bottom knob. Okay? If we're having a hard time maintaining their SpO2, we increase the percent of oxygen. Okay? Top knob on the side of the unit. Okay? SpO2, increase the oxygen. Respiratory rate, support their minute volume with the liters per minute, our flow rate. Okay? Nothing crazy difficult on that. So let's take a look real quick. Thank you, Manny, for holding that. Okay, this is set up on our patient now. You see the nasal cannula. This is where it's connecting to the hose. One of the benefits to this is also that we can just put the mask on here, hook the ears, and maybe you can't see well because of the light. It doesn't seal completely. Okay, we know that. We know those masks aren't foolproof, and it's not going to completely seal off the face. But it is going to control some of the aerosolized exhaled moisture from that patient, more so than what we can with the CPAP BiPAP masks. So we'll be sending out an email with this, and if you have any questions, you can talk to myself, Alicia, Zach, Scott, and we should be able to answer those. You should not have any concern with running this thing. It's a very simple, don't let it intimidate you. It's a very simple machine to use, just a couple knobs, and easy to set up. So I guess that's all I got. Real quick review, okay? Liters per minute is our volume, percent of oxygen, liters per minute adjustment, righty tighty, right off, left loose, left opens it up. Okay, muffler not disposable, keep it. Filter disposable, in between the unit and the muffler. And we're going to start at 30 liters per minute when we transition over, and whatever percent that patient is on their CPAP BiPAP in the hospital we're picking them up from. Okay? Again, any questions, get with me, Alicia, Scott, or Zach, and we'll help you through it. All right. Thanks a lot.